This episode of Casual Compliance is brought to you by Sieges. If they don't bring back the siege, I'm going to siege.
Siege Rhino? Siege these nuts?
You see me lose 3 life and you gain 3 life each time. Hi, I'm Graham. I don't know why I was pointing to the camera. Hi, I'm Grams.
Hi, I'm Chili Bin.
I've lost 3 life and he's gained 3 life.
I'm 38?
Are you?
No. I'm 35. I gained 3.
Oh, but I'm back in my 20s, baby. You're 35?
Yeah, dude.
And welcome to Casual Compliance, a show where we talk about the Commander ban list and sometimes Isochron Scepter. And what we do is we take the list of this format that everyone plays in Magic the Gathering now. Very popular Commander nights on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays these days. Everywhere at your local LGS. Go to your LGS, play Commander. And we take this prescribed list of cards that we aren't allowed to use as decided by 10 members of the CFP and Gavin Verhey.
More than 10.
I think it was like 10.
I think it's like 17.
The Commander format panel is only like 10 people.
No. Anyway.
I'm not.
You checking it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, way more than 10.
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Fuck you, 17. To the 17 people that say we're not allowed to use these cards, we ask why. Why can't I use these cards?
Well, not like that.
And then we answer why. Well, I'm like that. You're not. I'm playing a character for those people watching the full episodes. I agree with most of these. Kind of. Not as aggressively as you do in the videos. We will take the card. I'll tell you what the card does. We'll speculate why it might be banned. We'll go do some research. We'll come back and then we'll understand why it's banned. And we'll talk about our research and how that falls in line with it. Simple as that.
Pretty much.
The wheel. Let's get to it.
Please tell me what we've got.
Start recording on OBS. I'm going to spin that wheel. I'm not going to hit the desk anymore.
Thank you.
Drum roll music, please.
No. I'm talking to myself while I'm editing. What's up?
It was almost on Caracas.
Oh my God.
It was almost on Caracas. Instead, it's on Fastbond.
You're kidding.
We're back.
Well, they don't know that.
They don't know that. Okay. Well, we spoke about it last episode a little bit as well.
The lost episode was Fastbond. So now we're going to make good on Fastbond.
I don't remember why it's banned.
I don't remember.
He doesn't remember why it's banned.
What it does.
We don't remember what the card does. All I know from this is we're about to have a lot of fun because we will start remembering stuff as it happens. I think this is one with the research phase. If anything that comes back to our memory and we have this moment, it has to like little star effect and stuff like that.
Look, I'm not making promises. I'll see what I can do because I still have the video footage.
I want to make sure all of this is recording.
Yeah. Okay.
That audio's going.
Yeah.
This is going.
Yeah, this is going.
This is not going to ruin the focus, I hope.
Oh, they're all set to autofocus. It's fine.
Yeah, no, we're good to go.
Cool.
Because at least we have these as a minimum.
Yeah.
Fastbond. I'm so excited. This is art by Mark Paul. Amazing. It's an enchantment for 1 green.
Yep.
You may put as many land cards... You may put as many lands into play as you want each turn.
That's right.
Amazing wording.
That's it.
Already.
That's all it says.
Fastbond does 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first that you play in a single turn.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Now I remember.
It didn't take long. I'm so excited. I was like, oh, if this goes for too long, we're truly not going to remember this. So we're just in the right amount of time because we did record this 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was about that. Now remind me, that life loss effect, it's 1 for each land. So like second land, you lose 1. Third land, you lose 2.
1.
Oh,
for every land beyond that, so just 1. Does 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first.
Yeah. So it's like it's a scaling cost.
You lose 3. You lose 4.
Scaling damage, rather. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because my first thought was like, oh, you have a landfall that gives you a life, and then that negates that. But if it's like growing with each land that you chuck down, then there's at least some drawback to that. But no.
Important rulings for us to note for this one now, because I don't remember this from last time, but it was something I was curious of after we recorded. You take damage when you use a land using the player land action. For such an action can be your regular player land.
Yeah.
1 enabled by Fastbond or 1's enabled through other effects.
Okay.
So if it says player land,
right,
you do not take damage when you put a land onto the battlefield. So very similar
yeah.
to the cast versus put.
Cast versus put versus play.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you were like cracking a myriad landscape in the turn, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anytime you fetch,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. But yeah, because then it would be like cracking a myriad landscape is pay 2, sack it, get 2 lands, lose at least 2 life.
And immediately fixing it, because there has been a reprint of Fastbond in Vintage Masters that does word it better. It isn't exponential damage.
Okay.
Whenever you play a land, if it wasn't the first land you played this turn, Fastbond deals 1 damage to you. So
Is that like the up-to-date Oracle text?
It's yeah.
Okay.
So
like not what's printed on any card. Like what is
no, it's printed on the card. Okay. So on Vintage Masters, when Fastbond was last printed, because it's only legal in Vintage.
Yeah.
You may play any number of lands on each of your turns. When you play a land, if it
deals
wasn't
1
the
damage.
first one.
Okay, so it is just 1 damage.
Yeah. So Tachiova Benthic Druid.
Yeah.
Is net 0.
Yeah, just any of those fucking landfall, gain life, permanents.
There's a really cool printing of this that is £1,800.
What? What?
Oh, euros. Sorry, not pounds. Okay. Euros.
Great.
I don't know what that is in English.
All right, I'll have a look at that.
This is a $100 card.
Yeah.
Like probably fair, honestly.
Yeah, because it would just let you go so fast.
Why do you think this is banned?
Why do I think it's banned in Commander? And I'd say in Commander because you start with 40 life.
Yes.
So if you're like, it's a 1 cost.
Yep.
So if your opening hand,
Turn 1.
if your opening hand contains multiple lands and a fast bond, fuck, you're getting a head start.
Immediate advantage.
Imagine you're playing mono green, and you just like turn 1, forest, fast bond, dump all your lands, commanders out.
Yep.
And so like, let's assume, for argument's sake, 7 card hand, 6 forests, and a fast bond.
Yeah, but then you don't have... Yeah, but,
You're so far ahead at that point.
okay. I don't know...
Even if you're taking like the, 5 damage it would be for all the extra lands, like 6 forests, one of them will be tapped for fast bond, so 5 mana, you got a 5 mana or less commander, you're away.
And this will be the thing, right? Is there's a lot of cards that let you play extra lands. There's not a lot of cards that let you unlimited play extra lands.
I don't think any do.
I don't think there are any that let you play as many lands as you want.
That would be the only one.
I think that is the only one. So it'd be interesting to see what the price of extra lands are.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
And at what rate?
Looking for, because like off the top of my head, I know things like Azusa Lost But Seeking.
That's what I got up here.
Those sorts of
green
cards.
And green and 2, so turn 3 easy.
Yeah, there's a lot of like you may play an additional land and then that affects stacks. Yeah. Whereas Azusa says you can do 2 extra.
Yeah. On each of your turns. So if you have an extra turn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it all works. But
mono green extra turns.
Could you? That's doable.
No. I don't think so either. It's definitely in the category of Simic war crimes. It's not a green effect.
IDG.
Extra turn. Or additional turn, I believe. O, yeah.
And it's in
this
brackets,
is getting into research.
Isn't it?
I don't think it's a real thing.
Nope.
No. Wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, I immediately looking at this, I know what my stance would have been because my stance is the same every episode. If you're surprised, there is an extra turn spell in green. Okay. If you are surprised at my stance, this can be unbanned. This can be unbanned. Let's get to research.
Okay, please. For the second time, Fastbond.
Welcome back to Casual Compliance. Here we remind you of the card that we've looked up.
I'm like actually not sure if that'll get over the noise gate.
Welcome back to Casual. We're talking about Fastbond today. Mm-hmm. Fastbond is a 1 green enchantment, printed in 1993 in August, which is like beta, I guess, or anthologies, whatever.
Unlimited?
Sure.
Did it go?
The original printing text is you may put as many land cards into play as you want each turn. So you can play unlimited additional lands.
Yep.
Does 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first stat. You play in a single turn, which is you play a land, takes 1 damage. You play a land, takes 1 damage.
Yeah.
Play 1. Each land you play beyond the first deals 1 damage to you.
Yeah, it's just old templating.
Old templating. Let's get on to why it's banned.
Yeah.
It's 2 unique and important aspects of the format in Commander. You were right. Higher life total is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
the damage is trivial in the early game.
Yeah.
You play this turn 1, who cares?
Yeah.
Empty
You got
your
like,
hand of
you got
lands.
like, yes, 6 lands. You're taking 6 damage on turn 1.
We'll get into that.
That's fine.
Players always have something to do with the mana. E.g., cast their commander.
Your commander. Yep.
Fastbond often catapults its controller ahead by producing huge amounts of mana and landfall triggers.
Bingo.
Let me put it in my Omnath deck. And then into the thing with the CFP announcement of the ban restricted that came in April.
Yep.
April 22. Not only is this an incredibly strong way to continuously play additional lands for little cost, but there are all kinds of loops you can pull off with cards like Crucible of Worlds, which one at the end of this I will get to because it's fucked. Let's get into what you found first.
Okay.
And then I'll get into my point, because my point isn't really around cards.
Yeah.
My point is around the way the game plays. So-
Okay. Interesting.
And it's not just play more counter spells
Yeah,
or fucking
yeah,
source
yeah,
of plowshares.
whatever.
I'm boring, I know.
So I kind of went in 2 directions, which I'll go through now. One was what you touched on of like gross shit you can do.
Yep.
With this like enabling landfall and
Some cheeky commander spellbook.
no, not that. More just looking at like what types of commanders might this turn into a real problem.
Omnath.
Not even in there.
Not what?
No.
The 4-color Omnath?
Like, sure.
Yeah,
like, we get
no-brainer.
it. I went for things that, like, I don't know, required a little more thinking.
Yeah, okay. You're boring.
So, first of all, imagine you're running Bristly Bill as your commander.
Oh, that's the 2-cost green and 1
One on the green, yeah.
cactus.
2/2 plant druid, but it's a
Plant
cactus.
druid is a cactus, and then when a land is the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
On target creature.
on target creature.
Yeah.
And then for 6,
No, 5. 3,
5.
3 green, double the number of +1 counters on each creature you control.
dang, so close each time.
Yeah. So, like, that's a 2 cost.
Yeah.
You could get that out turn 1 and just, like, get the whole thing rolling
Yep.
pretty early. Green Sleeves Maro Sorcerer.
Amazing card.
3 green for a legendary elemental. Protection from planeswalkers and from wizards. Pretty fucking niche, if you ask me.
While Mark Rosewater is protected from wizards at all time.
They can't get rid of him. Green Sleeves Maro Sorcerer's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Cost 5 to get out.
Yep.
So this could be a turn 1 play with
Yep.
Fastbond. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 3/3 green badger creature token. So not only are you
Amazing.
making this bigger, you're getting bodies to block with.
And if you have one of the Soul Sisters downs, you're playing Selesnya, the Soul Warden, or Soul's Attendant,
Yeah.
you gain the life back.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Well, if this is your commander, those are white.
Yeah.
So you
well,
can't.
if that's your commander, yeah, different.
Yeah,
But
that's kind
if
of-
you just got it in your hand.
That was the
turn one
perspective
play.
I was coming from. It's
Yeah.
like, what if this was your commander?
Well, if you got Fastbond and that in your hand, you could have Soul Sisters pretty early.
Yeah. One that cannot be a commander, thank fuck, Scoot Swarm. 2 and a green for a 1/1 insect with landfall that says whenever a land you control enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. What that actually means in practice is if you have 6 or more lands, you are doubling the number of Scoot Swarms every time you play a land.
Exponential.
It is actually insane.
What's the highest amount of Scoot Swarms you've ever had?
I think I once got up to over 2,000.
Yeah, I had 2056
Yeah.
at the pre-release. That was what one had the deserts?
Deserts.
Yeah, I think it was
God.
Outlaws.
OTJ?
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Outlaws. Had the Hazazon, the Naya deserts.
Oh,
and
yeah,
had a
this was
Scoot
in one
Swarm
of the OTJ commander decks. Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
We mentioned Tatiova Benthic Druid, but just to touch on it, 3 green-blue, legendary Merfolk Druid. I have a Merfolk deck built with Tatiova.
Tatiova's so good.
It's so fun. It's a 3/3 with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you gain 1 life and draw a card.
Which is the most important part in this.
Yeah, like play a land, get a card. If you've got a high land count and fast bond with this, that turn 1 is insane.
Yeah.
This is all on the assumption that you have fast bond in hand
Yeah.
at the start of the game. Now, a different direction, and I'm not saying this will be a commander because it's red, but a combo that fast bond could really enable here, Morag Fury of Akum. I don't know how to pronounce these words.
No, it's good.
But 4 red for a legendary Minotaur warrior. It's a 6/6.
Amazing card.
Each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it has attacked this turn, and it has a landfall trigger that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So Fastbond can create a stupid amount of combat, like chained combat phases, if you were to pair it with something like this in a Gruul extra combat deck.
Amazing card. And the really sad thing about Morag is because it has the red in it. Oh no,
you just need a different commander that is at least red green. You can't play Fastbond.
No, but I can put this in Omnath still.
But I'll tell you in a bit what you could play that is. Well, no, it wouldn't work. Anyway, we'll get to it. The last sort of like potential commander I had in mind here was Nissa Resurgent Animist.
Amazing
from March of the Machine Aftermath.
Yes.
2 and a green for a Legendary Elf Scout at a 3/3. It's a big landfall trigger, so I'll go through it now. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color.
Now this happens
every time.
What's really important is every time.
Every time.
Yep.
Then there's some conditional stuff. Then if this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an elf or elemental card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. So first land, you get a land and a mana. Second land, you get a land, a mana, and a card off the top, essentially.
Yep.
And then everything after that is land plus mana.
Yep.
Because it only does that extra stuff on the second one. So you are essentially doubling the amount of mana you're putting down.
For the same cost of life.
Yep. Which is wild. And then, of course, there's Lotus Cobra, 1 and a green for a 2/1 snake. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, add a mana of any color.
Which one's a treasure token? Tyler's Provisioner.
Yeah. I didn't even bring that one up. But then I went looking for like, okay, that's what you could do with Fastbond, but what else is out there that is like Fastbond?
That isn't Azusa.
Just to be like, points of comparison. So searching for the Scryfall tag of extra land, there's like 120 options.
Okay.
And they are effects like Azusa, which says you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. All of the cards that say you may play an additional land. It's also stuff that says like when something happens, you may put a land from your hand into play, all those sort of effects. Yeah. So I whittled that down a little bit by removing the word additional from the search, just to see like, is it saying you may play 1 or 2 additional lands, or is it saying something else entirely?
Yeah.
So there's some weird stuff that brought up, like Genesis Ultimatum.
Oh, that's the.
If you get this mana cost right, I'll be very impressed.
It's 2 of each pip and then 3.
It's 2 green, 3 blue, 2 red. For a sorcery that says, look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of permanents from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand. Exile Genesis Ultimatum. So at most, you're getting 5 lands.
Yeah. The ultimatums are so cool.
For the cost of 7, you might get 5 lands. There's Kamal's Druidic Vow.
Nice. That's a good one.
X green for a legendary sorcery.
Yeah.
Which means you can only cast it if you control a legendary creature or a planeswalker. Great. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of land and or legendary permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, the rest into your graveyard. So if you're running like a mono green high land count deck, this would probably be pretty good, but that's still limited by how much you can afford to pay for at the moment you cast it. Now, the one that is like Fastbond, probably the most, Mana Bond.
I have not heard of this.
It is a 1 green enchantment, and it says, during your discard phase, you may choose to put all lands from your hand into play. If you do, discard the rest of your hand.
Okay.
But it's at discard, so you can't do anything with. It's like cleanup step essentially.
A line of anticipation.
The way that this is like
in the background.
The way that the Oracle text is written out is at the beginning of your end step.
Yeah.
So it's an end step trigger.
That's an end step trigger. That's a good fucking trigger though.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? Are they all going in at the same time?
Yeah, it's put all land.
So I've got Tachiova down. I've got Mana Bond down.
Yep.
Go to my end step. I put 5 lands down. That I've got an empty hand.
Yep.
I gain. So then I can't discard my hand, but then I will gain 5 life and draw 5 cards.
You haven't reached discard yet, Because this is beginning of end step, so cleanup happens after.
Oh, so in the cleanup, you discard your hand.
No. The way that it's originally worded is during your discard phase.
Yeah.
The updated Oracle text is at the beginning of your end step. And so it's saying if you do that effect to put all the lands down, you discard the rest of your hand.
Yeah, but if then you're drawing cards from the lands.
Oh yeah,
down,
like once that effect has resolved, you will have discarded your hand.
Yeah.
Or the landfall triggers will go on the stack.
And so you'll have a hand back.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm playing that.
Yeah.
Rad. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Same with Omnath. I gain the life. You lose the life. I get the.
Yeah. Assuming you've got you have to have a handful of lands at that point.
Yeah.
For this to be worth
Which
doing.
happens regularly. I get so fucked playing Omnath, but there's 46 lands.
I saw Mana Bond. I'm like, oh yeah, that has its place.
That's good. I like that.
Also found some not unlimited land play, but fairly easy to do a lot of.
Yeah.
There's a legendary blue spirit called Patron of the Moon. 5 blue for a legendary spirit. It's a 5/4. It has Moonfolk Offering. You may play this card anytime you could play an instant by sacrificing a Moonfolk and paying the difference in mana cost between this and the sacrificed creature.
Yeah.
I think we've had Patron of the Orochi come up before, which is the green version, which has Snake Offering.
The Orochimaru.
Yeah. So it's a 5/4 with flying, and for 1 generic mana, put up to 2 lands from your hand into play tapped.
That's rad.
Yeah.
That's rad.
That's pretty sick.
That's rad.
That's mono blue landfall,
I'm
I
here
guess.
for that, yeah. I do. Again, put it in, chuck it in.
But again, you put...
Omnath, done.
But you're putting them in tapped and you're paying 1 to do so.
Yeah.
So there is a cap.
But with the Nissa down, you've got that cap paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So with Nissa down, you've got a nice combo there.
Some kind of Simic deck,
exactly.
Yeah. And then there's a similar sort of thing here with Sakura Tribe Scout, 1 green for a 1/1, says tap, you may put a land from your hand into play. If you pair that with something that lets you untap creatures pretty easily, you could just be dumping lands, but it still requires you to have them in your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, like all of these do, Fastbond included.
Yeah.
And similarly, Scaled Herbalist, 1 and a green for a 1/3 that does the same thing.
Yeah.
Tap it to put a land down. So that would let you have essentially no limit on lands per turn, other than can you untap this thing within the same turn at will. So yeah, there's similar things you can do here. I think, like I said, the fastest thing or the closest thing is Mana Bond. But just the ability to do this sort of shit during the parts of your turn where you can cast anything. Yeah. It's just too much.
So very conditionally, because Mana Bond has a similar weakness that Fastbond has, where landfall things like Tachyova, AEC Gaia of Straits, I think
I had that one
is as well. AEC Tyrant of Gaia Strait as well. Landfall that lets you draw cards gets around the issue that Mana Bond and Fastbond has, which...
What's in your hand?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I have Fastbond and Fastbond and 6 forests in hand, and I play Fastbond, I play my 6 forests, and maybe I play my commander, but then I'm top decking for the rest of the fucking game.
Yeah.
Have you ever had fun top decking for an entire commander game?
You can build a top deck.
I have a top deck. It's how my Miniature deck. But other than playing fucking Miracle, which isn't in green, I don't know if there's any green Miracle cards. I think there is.
I'm sure there are.
But if there's, other than playing Miracle, top decking isn't fun, and top decking from turn 1 wouldn't be fun.
Oh no.
And there are really cursed ways, which I will get to, because this card should not be unbanned. But let's argue for a second that it is a game changer.
I think to your point, you would want to pair it with something like Tatiova, where the land lets you get another card back.
This would be in a combo deck, and this is a combo deck that you would have a discussion with the person you're playing with.
Yeah.
Very early on. Say, this is my Tatiova deck. There is a Fastbond in this deck. If I get it turn 1, I can play all my lands and get Tatiova down, but it will not benefit me.
It's Tatiova, Fastbond, and 50 lands. Just so, because then you're just I'm just going to run through my deck until I find the combo.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're trying to do.
Yes, but that's a combo deck.
Yeah.
And that is a EDH deck.
No, it's not.
That's bracket 5, basically.
There's no way that plays.
That's the thing is, that's a deck that you would have a discussion with. I'd be okay with you telling me you have Fastbond, because then I would adjust my power. I'd either say, no, I don't want to play against that, or I would adjust my power level to be able to respond to it.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm going to reach for a deck that has more...
Armageddon.
instant speed removal or land interaction.
Because it is just an enchantment.
Yeah.
And very similar to one of the other enchantments they brought back. Or actually, let's look at Coalition Victory.
Okay, yeah.
The whole argument about bringing Coalition Victory back is cool. You have removal, use removal. You have counter spells. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Fastbond, Golgari has a lot of recursion and stuff. There's not a huge amount of enchantment recursion. There's in white, I know.
Yeah.
But there's not a huge amount of recursion. Once Fastbond's gone, especially if it's gone early game, that's the combo gone if they're comboing out.
Yeah.
It is a potential to get out of control really quickly, but you would be playing at a power level where that is acceptable. Mana Bond is kind of similar because Mana Bond is an enchantment, is it not?
Yeah.
So it's on the board
for 1 grade.
You can do that.
Yeah.
If I dump 5 lands and then discard my empty hand and then draw 5 cards with Tachi over and I draw 5 more lands on my next turn, guess what? I'm going to play those lands.
I should also say I missed this part about the updated Mana Bond text. Yeah. The full current Oracle text reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may reveal your hand and put all lands into the battlefield if you do discard your hand.
So it's a reveal.
Yeah, but even otherwise it's it's going to the graveyard, which is a public zone, but I guess you're revealing it because it cares about a specific type.
Yeah.
Look at what I've got. Here's all my lands. Yeah. I'm dumping them out.
Yeah, and so that being every turn is similar to Fastbond, but
it's a choice. You don't have to do it.
You don't have to. You don't have to do it with Fastbond. You don't have to with Fastbond either. But the thing is, the difference in the asymmetry of Fastbond and Mana Bond is Fastbond is you get to choose 1 land, 1 life. This is all of the lands in your hand
all at once
and discard.
Yeah.
Different negative effects. I don't think one is better than the other though, because honestly, I think Mana Bond is actually strictly better Fastbond and is still cursed. Because it does control the timing restriction, and timing restriction is really important in Magic.
Yeah, I think that the main problem with Fastbond is that it enables you to do so many more things in your main phase.
Well, let's get into the bad actor part of it.
Yeah, please.
Actually, before I do that, do you remember my Borborygmos deck?
Yeah.
And a really fun card in that I said I would never play one of these cards, and then I did. It's an Unfinity card.
Oh, yeah.
I put an Unfinity card in my Borborygmos deck.
But it's a Commander legal one, right?
It's legal in Legacy, Vintage Commander, and Oathbreaker because they shouldn't have ever done this, but they did. I think Dice lost.
Yeah, I think they have come out and said we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guess what? You did, and I play it in my Borborygmos deck. Because Borborygmos, the whole Borborygmosing raged for those pithing needle nerds out there.
Pithing nerdle.
That sounds really targeted as well. You fucking pithing needle nerd.
Do you understand really specific old Magic lore about a controversy that happened at a tournament one time?
I named Borborygmos. You named the wrong one, bitch. Yeah. Instant for 3 and green, so 5 cost. Mm-hmm. Roll 2 6-sided dice.
Yep.
Return any number of cards with total mana value X or less from your graveyard to your hand, where X is the total of those results. Exile pair of dice lost.
Yeah.
Now, lands are cards. Mm-hmm. The wording of this is what is problematic here. Lands are cards.
Yeah.
Lands have 0 mana value.
Yeah.
I could roll Snake Eyes and get every single land in my graveyard that I've pitched to Borborygmos back into my hand to pitch again.
And then Fastbond or Mana Bond and just dump them all out.
Well, not even that, but just this is more fun.
Yeah.
This is silly stuff with lands that lets you get around restrictions. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the curse stuff. Let's go to Reddit. We haven't been to Reddit in a while, so we're going to finish this up with a Reddit.
I'm scared.
I asked Reddit, can we unban Fastbond? Uh-huh. And what I got was a thread from Lurid Tea Party 6 years ago.
Okay.
Should Fastbond get unbanned? And this is following Fastbond being unrestricted in Vintage. So anyone can play Fastbond in Vintage.
Gotcha.
Puzzlebox says, I'm going to go with no, with a side of fuck no. Mm-hmm. Deleted, so I guess they've ended their Reddit account. Good on you.
Or it was removed for them.
Says, are you serious?
All right, Fastbond Defender found.
And then my favorite one is, so this is Abides by the Dude 57. I played Fastbond as a joke with my playgroup for a couple games with their permission to see what happened.
Uh-huh.
Turn 1 forest.
Yep.
Fastbond.
Yep.
1 forest. 1 strip mine, so 2 life gone.
Yep.
Blow up someone's land past turn. Turn 2. Play another land, so 3 forests on the battlefield.
Yep.
Crucible of Worlds.
Yep.
Suddenly your board reads, pay 1 life, destroy target land. and the game is over with 0 interaction unless they have a 1 or 2 mana instant speed answer because you hold priority.
Yeah.
So I will play my strip mine, destroy your land. Play my strip mine, destroy your land.
It's an ETB, isn't it?
No, it's tap sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
And you can't respond to costs. Like, and there's not a lot that interacts with
just
land
puts that
activated
effect on the
abilities
stack.
that cheaply.
Especially if you're unable to play a land, you can't do shit.
And my final one, which is from Wellbog, that says, that is my favorite card with my all-time favorite art by my favorite artist. Even though I long to play it, I don't know if it should get unbanned. Same with my Precious Prophet. I want to play them, but the value they bring makes for quick imbalances in the game.
Bro, was this you?
Right? Wellbog, if you're still active and you watch our stuff, please DM me. Imbalances are fine when they take noticeable effort to set up and are reasonably managed by the table.
Yeah.
That's it. It needs to... Fastbond is too much for too cheap. Too much for too cheap, and the Crucible of World stuff is right.
Yeah.
Ramanap Excavator does the same thing for 3. Just play lands from your graveyard.
Yep.
Strip mine, gone. Strip mine, gone.
Yep.
And it's just 1 cost to destroy lands, and destroying lands is way more than 1 cost.
Yeah, should be.
Should be for 1 life. So this,
go on.
I think it can be a game changer for the point of people that use the bracket system. If you're using brackets to talk about your decks, it goes on the game changer list, or it can go on the mass resource denial list.
Could you imagine going to a bracket 3 kind of pod where you're allowed up to 3 game changes? Someone drops a fucking Fastbond.
Talking about
Again, but that's an insane effect to have in essentially upgraded precon territory.
Well, and this is the thing that we talk about in one of our other videos as well, which is in our video about the 5 unbans, is the brackets aren't prescriptive. They're guidelines.
Yes.
So if I sit down and say, oh, hey, I'm playing bracket 3, and you're like, what bracket 3? What game changes do you have?
Yeah, what flavor of bracket 3 are we
exactly?
talking
And
about?
I say Fastbond, I'm not playing a bracket 3. You can very accidentally mislead what your deck is because using it prescriptively tells you one way.
Yeah.
But using it as an actual way to discuss things is way better. Where say, oh, this is bracket 3, this is Fastbond, and touch you over as a commander. It's like, fuck, that's a bracket 5. Buddy.
Yeah, that's some turbo landfall shenanigans.
Yeah, that's top. That's like top. It's like, oh, it's 1 in 99. Yeah, I get it's 1 in 99, but you can mulligan down to whatever.
Yeah, I'd probably then at that point say like, okay, what else? What other kind of combos can you set up? Yeah. Like, is it just that you've got a Fastbond, or is it, oh, I've got these things that like landfall happens and everyone essentially dies in a couple of turns, like whatever.
I think there is a place where it does exist on the game changer list. I think that instead, the 54% of people that are playing that are using brackets to try and find their games in LFG things, they get Fastbond off the ban list.
Yeah, and this is like it is the other side of the coin of like unbanning into game changer territory is for the 46% of Commander players like measured that way that don't use brackets. It's just legal.
Yeah, and it's just there.
And again, like I don't want to assume bad actors, but like for those people that aren't having those good structured conversations before a game where this might get revealed.
Yeah.
It just shows up and you're like, oh, well, I wasn't prepared for this at all.
Yep.
And then you get that same like frustrating, potentially awkward experience of like, now you're in a game that
isn't fun.
Is imbalanced and was imbalanced from the start, and you're reckoning with that fact and going, well, I have no way out of this. I would rather not be here.
Yeah.
But feeling the social pressure of like, I have to stay in the game.
Yeah, I can't just scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, God, I would.
Yeah, fuck. You and I are the same though. We would just
you drop a fast one without talking about it. I'm like, I'm done.
Yep. See ya.
You're not the type of person I want to engage in this game with.
So it stays banned for now, but I do see a world where it comes off. Anyway,
what do they say? Unlikely to be unbanned?
No, that was the one before.
Okay.
That was the one before.
Okay.
This doesn't say unlikely to be unbanned, which means there's a chance.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway, I've been Gramps.
I've been Shelley.
This is Casual Compliance. Follow us on TikTok. The other things that we use. Blue Sky.
Yep.
Casualcompliance@gmail.com. Let us know. Comment in this video. Give us the time code so I can see it, please. And yeah, thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time where we talk about our favorite card.
To be inserted.
Thank God that's out of the way.
I know.
Thank God.